Joining us this morning on the morning show to do some Monday morning quarterback Mark Brunell. Hey, good to have you here.
Good morning.
So general consensus was that Gus was good at least through the end of the season.
Yes.
Why yesterday?
Bruce, all I can think of is that it gives the owner and David Caldwell a head start. They get an opportunity now that Gus has been fired to pursue our next head coach. I think it was just a timing thing. The statement read that it gives Gus the opportunity to enjoy the holidays with his family, which is great. I'm sure there's a lot of truth to that. But I think because Jeff Fisher got fired last week, and perhaps there's a couple other coaches that won't make it to the end of the season, just gives them a little head start to get the wheels turned a little bit and to find a head coach.
Yeah, you mentioned there might be 5 or 6 different head coaching jobs that are up for grabs. Yeah, as I look at what happened during yesterday's game on the field, it seemed to be a showcase for everything that has gone wrong for the Jags.
Without a doubt, Bruce, and we saw some good things, and this has been the MO for the Jaguars this year. We've seen some players have really good games, moments, big plays, special teams, on offense, defense. But even with all of that, they haven't found a way to win football games. I mean, Jalen Ramsey was amazing yesterday.
He was the shining star.
He was the shining star. We return a kick for a touchdown, a kickoff return that hasn't happened since 2007. Amazing, but yet we can't find a way to win football games. Defense has been fine. They've been asked to do a lot. They've been on the field too long. Our offense had 150 yards yesterday, Bruce. That's bad. That is really bad. Time of possession was bad. It just hasn't been a good year for our offense. And defense, like I said, they're on the field too much. They're put in tough situations. They're holding teams to few points. But when your offense isn't scoring and not staying on the field, you're not going to win football games.
You have Shad Khan and David Caldwell's ear. And they say, Mark, which way do we go? Do you get a tough guy like Tom Coughlin? Do you get an offensive coordinator?
There's so many, there's different styles. There's the Tom Coughlin on one end, and then there's the Tony Dungy on the other. Pretty mild-mannered, soft-spoken, doesn't really yell, doesn't really get after it. Bruce, both work. You know, it's not really the style, it's the person behind it, the ability to hire a good coaching staff and to motivate and put together a winning organization. It's tough. It's personal preference. I imagine Mr. Khan and Dave Caldwell will interview a number of candidates. There's some good ones out there. But
of the names that have been bandied about.
You know what?
And let's face it, neither Dungy nor John Gruden, even though the names have been mentioned, are going to come back to the NFL.
Yeah, and some of the guys that you'd like to have, I would suspect Dungy, Gruden, Bill Cowher, they're working right now. They're in our business. You know, they're in the media right now, and I think they're doing just fine. Some names of interest, I saw Sean Payton earlier on the screen. He was my coach in New Orleans, a very good football coach, and he's been fortunate to have a very good quarterback playing for him in Drew Brees. David Shaw, the head coach for Stanford, I thought that was an interesting one. But there will be some good candidates out there. Josh McDaniels' name is thrown out there. That seems to be a hot topic right now. Josh McDaniel wasn't a very good head coach. In 2010, he went 3-9. And got fired after 12 games. And then, of course, Coach Coughlin, everyone's going to be talking about that. That's always interesting, too. So it's early. People want to know who the head coach is going to be, but it's a process, and it'll take time.
And the buzz is, does Blake have to go?
I would say this. Our biggest concern right now isn't Gus Bradley. That wasn't the biggest problem. Now, he was the head coach, and he was responsible for winning football games. But our biggest concern right now is the quarterback position. He has regressed. He has gone backwards. And that is surprising based on what we saw last year with him, Bruce. Very promising, a lot of potential. And I'm not saying it's time to just cast Blake Bortles away, but this year has been surprisingly very, very bad. That is our biggest problem. If you're a head coach in the NFL, and if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. And Gus Bradley really never got Blake Bortles going, and that is why we're at where we're at today.
Well, which is interesting, because if you go back to when he was hired, David Caldwell basically said, when it comes to a football team, I'm going to use the word misfits, but a bunch of guys who didn't gel, who didn't do what they needed to on the field, and that was the challenge from the get-go.
Yeah, and Gus inherited really a mess, and so did Dave. They were behind to begin with, and we knew it was going to take time. This wasn't going to happen overnight, but expectations were very high going into this year, as they were, to a degree last year. They were supposed to win this year, Bruce, and inexplicably they're sitting here now at 2-12. It's a tough one, but yeah, it's a hard day. Gus is a friend of mine. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a good man, Bruce. And this is hard for he and his family.
He's a family man.
And it'd be one thing if Gus Bradley didn't put the time in or didn't care, but that's just completely opposite of who he is. He wanted to win. He did everything he could to get this organization going in the right direction. And for a number of reasons, it just didn't happen.
And in fact, right before the gauntlet fell in what was now his final news conference, post-game news conference, he seemed like, you know what, we have work to do. We can get there. Listen.
When I look at them out there, they're competing. They're going for it. It's just the opportunities just didn't go our way. Blake's our quarterback, and he has the opportunity to get better here these last couple games and improve. And, it's important for him. It's important for our team to finish strongly now these last 2 games.
All right, one quick final question.
Yes.
Any doubt that Gus is going to land on his feet as a DC somewhere?
He's a good coach. He will be sought after, I guarantee you. Very good defensive coordinator, maybe a position coach, maybe at the college level, pros, I don't know. But he will be coaching next year.
Mark Brunell.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Check out Mark's column, by the way, because he talks about Gus Bradley kind of beyond the coach. He really is a good guy. You'll find it under the sports section on news4jax.com. And tonight, join us for Jaguars All Access. Sam is live at Mellow Mushroom in Avondale at 7 o'clock. And by the way, a reminder, we expect to learn who will fill in for Bradley as interim coach at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Watch that news conference live on air and on news4jax.com.